I'm going to read off of one of them, so I'll give you
The time is 4:30 p.m. The Pelican Rapids City Council meeting of 29 October 2024 is called to order. I'd ask those in our council chambers, if you have not signed the clipboard by the back door, if you'd please do so before you leave this evening. And also I asked everybody, please put their phones on vibrate. Roll call of members. Danielle?
Councilmember Steve Strand.
Here.
Councilmember Kevin Ballard.
Here.
Councilmember Kurt Markgraf.
Here.
Councilmember Steve Foster.
Here.
And Mayor Brent Frazier.
Here. I want to welcome each and every one of you here in our council chambers, also those joining us by Zoom. Remember, our city council meetings are on the Pelican Rapids YouTube channel and also on channel 14 on Wednesday evenings. Just a few announcements for the next couple of weeks. Remember this Sunday, November 3rd, daylight savings time, so set your clocks back 1 hour. Tuesday, November 5th is election day here. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., so find the precinct which you are voting in. November 11th on Monday is Veterans Day, and then November 12th, 4:30 p.m. is our next city council meeting here in the council chambers. Any other announcements? Any other announcements? Hearing none, if we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 2 is citizens' comments. Anyone here in the council chamber for citizens' comments if you are not on our agenda? Anyone for citizens' comments? Okay, seeing none. Item number 3 is additions, deletions to the agenda, so get your pen ready, please. We have a few. First one, we're going to delete item number 4D1. Delete item 4D1. We'll keep number 2, but delete 4D1. Additions. These are bullet points under number 5, design intent. We have 3 or 4 more bullet points. The first one is a change request from design intent. The first bullet point is change request from design intent. Second bullet point is number 14, pay request of $10,788.80, or change order, Danielle? Change order?
Not a pay request?
Yeah, change order. Change order number 14, $10,788.80. Another bullet point is number 15 of a pay request of $330, change order of $330. And the next bullet point is the pay request, number 15, of $193,528.91. That is a bullet point, pay request number 15 of $193,528.91. Okay, then I also have a couple other additions. Item number 14 is Houston Engineering invoice. Item number 14 is Houston Engineering invoice. And another addition is item number 15, lighted horse parade. Number 15 is the addition of lighted horse parade. Any other additions or deletions? Any other additions or deletions?
Move to approve with all of the additions and the deletion of D1.
Second.
Motion second, discussion, discussion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. Item number 4 is approval of consent agenda, which I'll read. Item number 4A is approval of council minutes of October 8th, 2024. 4B is approval of accounts payable listing. 4C1 is the staff report, the utility report from August and September. And 4C2 is a liquor store report. 4D2 is intent to certify mowing. This parcel number is R76000990535000 at 108 Northwest 2nd Street, and the amount due is $162.50. Item number E is gambling permit St. Leonard Church on December 12th, 2024. Item 4F is park board minutes. And item 4G is planning board minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move the consent agenda.
Second, motion second, discussion, discussion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. Okay, let's jump all the way down to item number 15, lighted horse parade. We have Audrey Wyfall and Everett Ballard here this evening to talk about the lighted horse parade and the schedule and the upcoming route. Take it away.
Here again. Okay, route is the same as last year. And Brian is already working on getting the permits for that. I've talked to him. We do ask that we put cones up for no parking in between the roundabouts now. And Everett will talk more about that.
Yeah, we sat downtown here the other day and just kind of watched, and with some of these floats and their walkers, I mean, some of these hay wagons and stuff are 10 feet wide. There's just there'll be no space safety-wise for cars to be parking in those parking spots, and then having these units go in between those cars and that median, because the horses won't be able to walk down the center of the road with that raised median down there, so they're going to have to be in that driving lane, which is going to put them right next to those vehicles. So we're just going to have no cars at all on Main Street between the roundabout on either side of the street, because they'll have to come down.
Has that happened off and on throughout the years? There has
Last
been
year we had
cones?
cones out, and people moved them.
They moved the cones,
Okay.
so.
I would
And
expect more
we
of the
made
same.
do with it last year because we had the center of the street to work with, but now it'll be virtually impossible to do that.
So if we could just get those cones, and then there's a little sign that goes inside the cone that says no parking, that would be great.
Okay.
I think it's kind of like what you do when you do the snow removal.
And the street department sets these cones out? Okay.
Well, yeah, last year I think when they brought the cones last year, they just kind of set them on the corners and
Oh,
And a couple of our members from merchants went and put them
what time
up.
do the cones have to be out?
when we put on Facebook here now today, we said no parking after 5:30. That should give the stores time to do whatever they're doing, and then that'll give us an hour to kind of maybe weed out
Okay.
some of the ones that
Will
do
they
end
still
up.
be able to access that parking lot by Ace Hardware from the road? You know what I mean?
They should still be able to get in and out of that parking lot. There just won't be parking on the street itself. It shouldn't affect the parking lots anyway, any shape or form, but.
We do give wagon rides, and that's on the parking lot next to Mercantile on Main. And that runs from 3 to 5:30.
Okay.
And they go out the back way by the church.
Chief Quaidens, do you have any comments or concern?
No, we'll make it work.
Okay, okay.
Is there any reason barricades aren't acceptable?
Oh, instead of the cones? Yep, that's,
I just want to make sure there wasn't, I'm not a horse person, I just want to make sure there's not a problem that would come.
if we had the barricades, if the barricades were set right next to the curb, they'll stick out a little ways, but there would still be ample room, because they're probably only 3-4 feet wide, I suppose, at the base.
Do you want to make sure the horses?
That would actually
are-
probably be,
I think it would,
they're less apt to try to get out and move them.
right? Right. And if they're, I don't know if I'd suggest putting them next to the curb, I'd say almost in the middle of that parking spots, that it would make people not want to park there, and it would, I just want to make sure it's not a problem for horses. Is it a problem for them to be alongside of?
As long as, those aren't gonna stick out as far as you'd be putting them the long way anyway,
Right.
so
Right.
you could probably use a combination of barricades and cones and.
Okay.
Council have any questions?
And that actually probably wouldn't be so that would actually maybe help keep people off from coming out into the street as well.
I'll talk to Brian about it. I just want to make sure that it wasn't a horse issue.
We are working on extra security downtown, too.
Okay.
So, what time did we do last year? Was it 5:30? I'm thinking about businesses, you know.
Oh, the parade started at 6:30, but 5:30's been kind of the
We did.
norm, but like I said, last year they moved the cones on their own anyway, but
It's nice for older people to park there, but this year, for the security of the Teamsters and the spectators, it's just not feasible.
Okay, is there a motion from the council to approve the lighted horse
Move
parade
to approve.
schedule and
Second.
route? Okay, we have a motion second, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to item number 5. We have design intent. We have Scott from Design Intent and also Kelly from Jazuski here this evening and I'm going to turn it over to Scott
Well, thank you,
because there's
Mr.
a
Mayor.
bunch of bullet points here and I want to make sure we don't miss anything and cover it all. But I know what the first bullet point is the punch list that was requested and Scott supplied that to us this evening.
Sure.
Scott?
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is kind of an exciting time right now, isn't it? We're getting really close to being done with this pool project. We started in September of 2012. It's 12 years ago, a little over 12 years ago, and we're finally coming to the end, which is really quite exciting, to tell you the truth. We had punch lists. We had the mechanical engineer go through the building on Friday of last week, and I believe the civil engineer went through the site on Friday of last week. We had electrical and the architectural departments go through today to do their punch lists. We've provided all those punch lists to the contractor, and I believe you guys all have those punch lists too. Is that right, Lance?
Yep, I do. I
Okay,
handed
you
them.
have them, and I know you just got some of them, so I'm not expecting you should have read them or anything like that, just so that you have them. The contractor basically gets 2 weeks to go through those punch lists and correct anything, add anything, clean, that sort of thing, whatever we thought maybe could have been a deficiency or not. Just that we think it's just not quite right. Most of it was small stuff. We don't think it'll be that big of a deal. Sometimes it's, well, for instance, just for an example, the gate, the double gate that's on the fence, there's a latch that's supposed to go down into the ground and didn't quite fit right, but that's an easy fix. Something like that. So they'll be working on that for the next 2 weeks. We do have the state, they have an inspection for the pool on November 7th coming up for the state. The pool is up and running. It's been running, what, Kelly, for a couple days now? 3 or 4 days? About a week?
Yeah.
I was talking with Aqualogic. They think the pool should be balanced and the water should be clear by Friday. So if you guys go over there on Friday, it should look like it's a brand-new clear water. You'd want to jump in if it wasn't 35 degrees. But it does look pretty inviting. You guys should all be proud. It's looking like a very fantastic project you got over there. So that's what I have for the punch list. Do you have any questions on the punch list item? Okay.
I don't have a question on the
Yes,
punch
sir.
list, but on the inspections, you had mechanical, electrical, what other engineers in there?
So civil
Civil
and architectural.
and architectural, they find anything?
It's all on the punch list that they found.
Okay.
Yep. Each discipline has their own punch list, so you should have 4 pages of punch lists.
All right,
And they all bulleted item on what they found or what they think needs to be corrected or adjusted. Not that it's wrong, but it could just need to be an adjustment of something.
okay.
Yep.
Now, you've been through this before with the state inspections, right?
Yes, not necessarily with the pool, with the health department. I've been through with Department of Labor and Industry. So we're going to have, so the aquatic engineer hasn't been here yet. He's going to be here on November 7th when the state is here. So
Okay.
that engineer will be here during that time.
All right. Are they looking for anything?
As a matter of fact, they've been testing, so Aqualogic is the company that installed all the pool equipment and stuff like that. They've been testing everything, and they've been on the phone to the home office and stuff like that. So they have everything tested and up and running so that the testing or the inspection by the state should go over smoothly.
Will there be water in the pool when the state inspection's here?
There'll be water in the pool.
All right,
Yep, there's water in it now, and it'll stay that way until after the inspection.
okay.
Yeah, they have to spray the deck as well and make sure there's no ponding issues. Go through the mechanical items in the room that run all the pool pumps. Everything's got to run.
Yeah, pool has to be perfectly balanced, just like it's supposed to be. The state inspects all that. So that's why Aqualogic's been here now for almost a week, getting it all, set up and working. Make sure they go out without any hitches. Yep.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I guess we can go on to the
Move on
next
to the next
item,
one.
Sean?
Okay, so now we're looking at some change requests. And I just, no disrespect, I just want to make a couple of comments. So these are change requests. CR 13, CR 14, and CR 15 are change requests. They get converted into a change order upon the approval of the council. So we've only had really 3 change orders, but there's been change requests that are incorporated into the change orders. So technically, change order 1 was change request number 1, 2, and 3. Change order number 2 was change request number 4 and 5. There was 3 change requests that didn't go through, and that was 6, 8, and 10, I believe. And then there was a change order 3, which was change request number 7, 9, 11, and 12, I believe. So you've had 3 change orders, and they were for a total so far that have been approved by the council for $43,079.86. So on a project of this size, so this is just under a $5 million project, so far you've approved 0.87% increases in the cost of this project. That's pretty phenomenal for a $5 million project that's as complicated as this. I would expect in the range of 3 to 5%. That would be an acceptable amount of change orders on a project like this. We are currently sitting at less than 1%. We do have those last 3 change orders, or change requests, I'm sorry. The first one is change request number 13, and that's in the amount of $21,719.31. That has to do with redesigning the deck for the slope of the deck and for drainage of the water off the deck. The original design, because we knew that this project was a tight budget, and even because of the competitive environment that we do in this country for competitive bids, there really isn't any additional monies in a contract for any kind of fluff should something happen. If, basically there are always decisions made during a project. Those decisions always have a ripple effect as they go through the project. Sometimes we catch them, sometimes we don't. We were looking at the pool deck. We removed the parking lot. We used to have some water run off to the sides, and that parking lot was part of the drainage of the pool deck. Turns out that some of the deck was at 1/8 of an inch. The contractor that was laying the concrete was thinking that that's a little shallow. He was a little nervous to make sure it wouldn't pond. So we all got together. We were doing our progress meetings, and we talked about, converting it to a 1/4 inch everywhere. It's a much better deck than the original design. It's a little bit more expensive. I get that, and I apologize for that, but.
Scott,
you are
could you
getting a
point
better
that out
project.
on the screen there, which area?
Oh, yeah, Kelly, if you can do that. So it's actually, we redesigned the whole deck, so.
This was added here. That was never in there. We had to create a high point between these two to get the water to flow both ways, because we couldn't get it to sheet drain this way. And then we added this curb because we had to keep this at 2 inches below this fence as well. You can see this coming off right here as well was added. Yep, right. Just this got to be too flat for too far, and Karen at an 1/8 inch, they were too worried of getting one bird bath in there and water sitting, and then they got to take the deck out and redo it. And then some changed on the, right here. This just had one that went through. We went to 2, and then we extended it back out into this riprap area. So if the water would pond up in here, it would hit these 2 drains now and make its way to the north as well.
So we're controlling the water much more than we were on the original design. So controlling water is always a good thing, because we know water wrecks things. So if it sits or accumulates, it's just a safety issue, it's a health issue. So health, safety, and welfare for the occupants, things like that. We thought this was a better design and a better solution for your pool. It'll be less maintenance in the long run, because you won't have any type of staining, where it sits, and then you got, like you say, ponding marks and stuff like that. And the quicker you get the concrete dry, less chance you have of cracking and stuff like that. So we're really controlling the water much more than we did originally. So that being said, if you accept that, and if you accept the stormwater pipe that was added, the $10,788.80 that goes down to the stormwater sewer over by the assisted living facility that's down there, and then the RPZ valves that need to be certified for $330. That may be a little bit more depending on if one of those RPZs has to be rebuilt. One was provided by the city, it was on the original pool, and one is new, but they have to be certified every year. So basically CR 13, 14, and 15 come to a total of $32,838.11. So if you accept all those, your change order total amount would be $75,917.97. For a project this size, just under $5 million, that's a change order total amount of 1.53%. So we're well under what I would consider an acceptable amount of 5%. This was, and basically, everybody on the project, we're doing everything that we can to keep costs down when you think about how complicated this project is and how small of an area it is. And then some of the sites had some deficiency on it, that sort of thing, because there was 1/8 inch slope for an existing pipe that was down there that we're using. We had to go in for the state for that. Code interpretations of the slopes of the concrete. The codes were written kind of poorly, so the intent or the interpretation of the codes from different individuals is kind of problematic for that slope, that sort of thing. That was why we did the concrete slope the way we did. So I'm asking that you guys accept those change requests. I mean, we're well under what I would consider an acceptable amount. And we do have a contingency fund that is kind of for these things within the project.
How much was that contingency fund, do you remember?
Lance might know. Was it $150,000 or something like that was kind of set aside? It can be used for other things, but I know that you guys have money for
Okay.
it. The city has. I don't know exactly how much it was, so yeah. We'd like it to be around 3%,
Also?
I guess from my, I'm not a pool guy. I'm not a concrete guy. But, and I'm not an architect or an engineer.
Sure.
But we hired people that were to design it and everything. And in my mind, all of this should have been in consideration. And I'm talking about the 21.
Sure, the 13, yep.
21, the drainage thing. That's my hang up there is that that's what you guys do. I mean, that, and it should have, to me, that should have been figured into the quote to begin with, and yeah, I get the whole 1 point whatever % is acceptable, but what, I mean, it's not my money, it's taxpayer dollars, and it's stuff that we have to consider and keep that in mind, but I guess at this point it is what it is, and if we have the contingency money for such a thing, then it's not as big of an issue as if
Yeah, if we can, yeah.
I would be making more noise if there wasn't that contingency fund available. And that's all I'll have to say.
Mayor, if I could, can I approach the microphone? I do have some follow-up questions. I guess in order to get these on the record, I need to be at the mic, and these will not come as a surprise to you, because I did email the architects these questions that I had, and I'm just going to follow on a couple of them. You did answer a couple of them. But I'm going to ask specifically now the questions that I asked you before. Change order 11, I heard you discuss the difference between change order and change requests, and, okay. On number 11, the reason was cited that it was a delay in plumbing permitting. And can you clear up for me who's accountable for obtaining plumbing permits? That was quite a costly change order, and it would seem that should have been something that was thought of. Can you clarify that for me? And I can continue with the rest of my questions, and you go through one by one, or?
I'm looking for 11 here. Is that for change request number 11?
Yes.
Do you guys want me to answer these? You guys have already accepted these change requests and things like that, so it's a done deal, really. But, all right, so for the plumbing permit, I can tell you that sometimes it's the contractor's responsibility, sometimes it's the designer's or the engineer's responsibility. On this one, and I think this was because it was a plumbing permit for, and I'm not even sure which one it is because there's more than one permit. One was for the building, for the building permit plumbing, and that went through the Department of Health. So did the pool stuff go through the Department of Health. But we didn't want to submit too early because the first time we went through this process, it didn't go anywhere. In other words, it was all disapproved. So we wanted to wait until we got confirmation from the city that we would be moving ahead with the project before we started spending more money of the city's money. Does that make sense? More, you know? So we waited, not that we waited a long time, but then, of course, the state, you can't control the state. They take as much time as they want. And we could have went through in 3 weeks, but it took 2 months to go through.
Okay,
So, yeah.
okay, all right. I was just caught off guard a little bit by, and I know this is simplistic, but explain to me that isn't GFCI protection devices, isn't that standard? How was that missed?
It is, and it wasn't missed, actually. So the GFCI protection for the item that you're looking at is actually built in to the pumps. But it's not recognized by the state as a controlled protection device. Even though the manufacturer said it was and everything of the sort, then it was told to us that way and everything like that, and the state said, no, you got to have a GFCI protector. So that's why we had to go to the lifeguard, I think it was called, or something like that.
Okay.
So-
The big one of 21,719, to meet, it actually says to meet ADA compliance on your change request. Today you offered a slightly different perspective, which was a better slope.
It is. It's a better slope.
So-
Well, it's better control of the water. For ADA, our deck originally was designed for ADA, no problem there. So ADA is 1/4 inch per foot or less.
Okay.
And our slope on our pool deck was a 1/4 inch per foot or less.
Okay.
So-
So at the time when you bid this project, you didn't know that? In other
Didn't know
words,
what?
That you would be needing to modify it to this
Exactly.
slope?
Yep.
You didn't know that?
Yep.
Okay, and I'm just following on Councilmember Ballard's general
Sure.
questions of, they are small, and I did calculate that percentage, and I did follow it along with your changes today as well. Are there going to be any more change orders after the ones we see tonight?
It would just be that RPZ, if it would need to be rebuilt.
And any idea what that would cost?
They had a time and material on it at 150 an hour or something like that, and 30% on
Okay.
parts. But
I would say another $1,000 maybe, something like that,
Yeah.
to rebuild one. The new one, the other one's new. One would have to be rebuilt, one is new, shouldn't have any problem with it at all.
and Hammers never even marked it up because you guys had to get it inspected anyway, so I just passed it along, actually.
Council?
Yep. So,
You know, I don't know your world very well, but in my world, when I quote on something and if I screw up, forget, it's my problem. So I have a really hard time with this.
Yep, I totally get your remarks on
Trough
that.
thing, I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of money.
It's hard to interpret the code like what a code official would interpret it as. And the Minnesota, so the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry follows the Minnesota Building Code, and the Minnesota Department of Health just states that they want a 1/4 inch per foot fall away from the pool. Unfortunately, it doesn't say how far. I mean, is that 6 inches is a foot? Then can you go to an 1/8 inch per foot? Slope like that? The interpretation of the subcontractor is it had to be a 1/4 inch per foot everywhere. Ours was that it still sloped correctly, it still worked. But we talked about it and we discussed it, and if he was worried about, being able to, get it so that it did drain properly, that sort of thing, I get that. I have to believe that his thoughts were for the betterment of the project, not that he was trying to make money or anything like that, just that he was thinking that this is better. This is the city's gonna like this way more than if we had it flatter than the way we had it originally designed. So it truly, our decisions were correct when we made those decisions, but then we had to change. I mean, construction is messy, and you gotta go along with some changes, and there's lots of people, lots of moving parts, and it just is hard to always corral everything. So, nobody likes the changes. No one likes the change orders. We definitely don't like to add cost to the projects. I think we did a great job of keeping it to a very minimum amount. I mean, it really is a minimal amount.
What would the council like to do? What was the total of a change order we're looking at here?
Scott's got it.
Total amount for everything?
That we're looking at on this item?
On this one?
item.
$32,838.11.
Okay.
And that's 11,
11 cents.
no, I mean 11, 12.
Oh, that would be change request 13, 14, and 15. Yep.
Well, I agree with what Kevin stated earlier. I mean, I would like to know how much money we have in that contingency fund.
Well, right now, we have plenty of money in the pool fund to cover these costs and more, because like we said, we had to bond for that money, and then we ended up getting that 1.5 from the state. So there's plenty of room there for these things. And we can decide in the future here how to use that extra money as well. There's going to be upward over 500,000, I'm thinking, by the end of this whole project, because of how things all worked out at the beginning there. So, and the way I see how design intent, let's just say these deck drains. I mean, at the beginning of the project here, we had to cut down and reduce everything. Well, they were designing things very basic and what we had to have. And this whole thing came up with the deck drains and the concrete and how it was gonna be poured and all that stuff, and we do have a much, much better product at the end. Sure, they could have put it in the way it was originally designed. When they originally designed it, they were making sure that we were doing everything as cost-effective as we could. Here, it ended up, we have to pay a little more but it's gonna be a much, much better product. And I don't think we're gonna be paying as much for maintenance and all that other stuff in the future. How we'll ever quantify that, I don't know, but it is a much better product.
We did build in a contingency too.
What was it?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure I talked to you and whatever you recommended at the time.
More than likely,
Around 5%, but.
yeah, more than likely, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I don't think we actually called it a dollar amount, but it was a
Yeah,
percentage.
right. You told me a percentage.
Do I hear a motion to approve this request?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We got a motion, is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion second. Discussion? Discussion?
I guess every time we go through a project, we go through this. And we pay a lot of money for architectural services because the state requires us to do that. So I'm really kind of frustrated by it. That every time, every project we've had is just not, and I'm not picking on you by any means.
I totally understand.
It's just,
That's commonplace.
Yep. I wish I had an answer on how to solve that. It's just so many moving parts and construction's messy. It just is. And like I said, the competitive nature of bidding, technically, the contractor who wins the bid is the first loser, in essence, because let's say you get 10 bids. Let's say your lowest bid is $100,000 lower than the next lowest bid. Well, that contractor that got that bid just lost $100,000. That's what they left on the table. So they don't have any cushion whatsoever to help should something like this come up to say, yeah, you know what, we can just add this. And I know Hammers did do a little bit of cushioning because on the concrete we had some curbs and stuff like that that went into that slab where the fence is at, because the other part of a code is that the bottom of the fence can't be more than 2 inches above the ground. And with a slope like that, it would have been. So they added curbs and they didn't charge for that. So there has been some give and take a little bit on it. And I know that doesn't help you. I know, I get it. It's a lot of money. It really is. I get it. But we really truly do focus on trying to keep all the costs to a bare minimum as we can.
Any more discussion?
Yes, because part of the frustration for me is that it's already done.
Yep.
You're not coming and asking if we should do this increase to do the job.
Right.
You're going, here's the pictures, here's the work, it's been done. And now we're stuck with, what happens if we don't approve it? Are you gonna take it out?
We'll have to talk about it more, I suppose.
Huh?
We'd have to talk about it more, I suppose.
That's the position we're placed in, really.
Like Councilman Foster mentioned, almost every project, we're in the same situation.
Yeah, but
In the future, it'll
they
happen.
come before the work is done, though. Now we're at the point of, here's the picture of the work that's been done that we need you to pass an increase on a project that's already been approved. So that's part of the frustration for me, but like I said, it's already done, so I would call the question.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You're going to enjoy that pool. It's pretty nice.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We got all that, Danielle?
We do.
We covered it all, okay.
Well, it's the pay request yet. Pay request is 15,
Oh, yeah.
needs to be approved as well.
330,
Yeah.
I don't know that you,
135.
Scott has anything on that, but the pay request is straightforward, just like all the others you went
It
through it.
is same as all the other ones. Sorry about that, I forgot that we were doing that. And there should be some lien waivers in there too. I think I provided those too.
Yep, I got them.
Pay request 15.
Yes.
I'll move we approve pay request number 15 for Cameron Construction.
I'll second.
Motion second, discussion?
Where on the pay request, I mean, the number that you gave for the pay request is different than the number that's on the pay request, if I'm reading the pay request right.
Are you talking for the change order?
Well, the pay request of $193,528.91?
Oh, it's right here, right here.
I'm looking for on it. All right, got it, we're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 6 is MWC advertising. I'm going to ask our Economic Development Director, Jordan Grossman, to address this and introduce the people that are with us this evening. Jordan?
Good evening. The city this last summer has gone through an advertising campaign with MWC Advertising out of Fargo-Moorhead area on a plethora of radio channels, podcasts, etc. So I have Dan Cash and Danny Halleck here with MWC to give you an update on how the summer campaign went and maybe some future opportunities.
Gentlemen.
Gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity. This past summer, we did some live broadcasts. We tried to bring a lot of light to the region that you are open for business, that you are going through a little bit of a crisis with your Main Street being shut down and lack of traffic, and trying to get people to recognize the fact you were open. We understand that early on you had all the rain and you have a lot of difficulty in May and June. Lack of better word, we tried to bring some sympathy to keep it local and to come into your town. So we hope we did that through the interviews, the live broadcasts. We targeted with the budget with the Thursday, Fridays, and then Saturday mornings with our fishing show, that you were open for business. Please come and use your Main Street. And then I would check in pretty much weekly with Jordan, or when I drive through town. I've got a place over by Ottertail, so I'd drive through here. Our general manager, Dan Cash, is over in Dent, so he'd drive through as well. So we were always like, hey, did you see that? Did you see that? That's open, that type of thing. So, but yeah, that was pretty much it. Do you guys have any questions on this past summer? Any thoughts?
Is there a way you guys track response? I mean, or is that just kind of left up to the businesses to?
Well, it's a little of both. Now, if you had, say, a landing page, which it was brought up to us that we could send people to, like Shop Pelican, for deals, Shop Pelican, you'd be able to then see the response with radio analytics within 8 minutes of an ad running. Exactly, did somebody go to that web page? So you've got those types of things where we could do that. It's kind of hard when it's kind of a general overview. It's hard to say what they were looking for. I became a regular at Brown Eyed Susan's just because I liked her pickles and I liked her attitude. She was just so bubbly, So I mean, it's kind of hard to say what each business did. That's why I was saying if you had a landing page, maybe that had special offers next summer or even this winter, those are easy to put up, and maybe easy to get some of your local businesses to jump onto, whether it be a restaurant or a hardware store or, those types of things, so.
Can I jump in quick?
Sure.
Just to talk a little bit about those analytics, the tracking, which is probably the number one thing that ever happens with any advertising with us, is how do you track it? Having that analytics that we provide We can put together a page that makes it very simple, but it really does show a report. It shows each commercial that you're airing, everything you're doing, what's the response like, how are people reacting to it. It's powerful because it helps to show, and it's no additional charge, just a part of what happens. And we're able to really make decisions quickly on if a commercial's bringing people here, if they're responding to it. You can see really quickly what works and what doesn't. And one thing that I wanted to note is that when we were out here, KFGO had our It Takes Two show broadcasting live. It was on a Friday, I think is what
Yep,
it was. And
in the park.
In the park. And I was driving to my cabin and I heard it and I pulled over and I texted the host, because what I found is, I've been through Pelican many times, but what I found is they really, along with all of you that were participating in it, because I know several were interviewed in it, told the story unlike I've heard in a long time of anywhere. It really was a time where basically anything that people didn't understand about the region, they got to find out. And it was pretty powerful stuff. It was enough that I don't often do that, but it really was powerful, the things that are happening here. No question.
And we are working with Jordan. We do have one more broadcast to book in the month of November. So we'll have Tyler out here with his show live at some point in the next couple weeks. She's going to work with the EDA board on that. So we do have that. So that's basically where we're at this summer. I don't know if you want me to go on the next part. Jordan suggested if we put something together maybe for the holidays. So we've kind of put that up there for Jordan. Kind of same overview, same objections. We wanted everybody to experience what's going on in Pelican Rapids, especially coming up for the holiday season, given opportunities to promote events, maybe promote the horses, those types of things, what's going on in Main Street. We are open for business. We've got restaurants. Think of us for ice fishing. Think of us, that type of thing. Or guys like us who pass through, on a busy Friday night or Saturday, those types of things. Or now that the Main Street's open, I needed a air filter last week. Now I know I could go get that down here at the hardware store. But, our approach would be continuing using our outdoor programming, which reaches those outdoorsmen through our hunting and fishing programming, leveraging their reach and relevance amongst those hunters and fishermen and ice fishermen. Also look at our afternoons live, because when people are leaving, they got to have that radio on as they're driving. Tyler can get that word out for you as well. Also adding in some Froggy 99 weather updates about, traffic is ready to go. The roundabouts are in. We're ready for the winter. Those types of things. Because the nice part about radio, if something changes, locally, all of a sudden maybe you have to have a construction project or, water main breaks. We can tell people about that right away. We also worked in holiday gift guide, because with the holiday gift guide, JJ and Amy, our live show, can talk about what does Pelican have to offer, because they break it down into what does it have for her. When you can come up some things for the wife, for the girls, for him, something for the teens. Whether that be restaurant gift cards to beet pickles at Brown Eyed Susan's, there are things here for everybody, but why? You've got to give them a reason to stop here. Those types of things. But we added in that. We also added in, obviously, Brewer and Agri, our outdoor show. They were doing monthly interviews with local people and talking about the fishing conditions all summer. Now they could talk about possible hunting conditions and things like that, and getting ready for ice fishing. We worked in Drive Time News, where we're doing to our traffic reports, where we can do all the traffic reports in the region, including, if you're coming to Pelican, remember you got to maybe miss that road or take that road, or, just kind of dragging around. But yeah, we also worked in the Froggy weather, or weather sponsorships that can also give the road conditions in the same time frame on Thursdays and Fridays. We get to the end. For the EDA board, I've been breaking it out as kind of line item vetoes. So if they say, hey, we like this idea, but we don't want that, I can take it out. Or we like this idea, but instead of 8 weeks, we want to go 13 weeks, I can add that in. So when you get to the schedule investment. Schedule investment, you can see where it's KFGO Gone Outdoors with Brewer and Agri, 8 weeks. And then we've got KFGO Going Home Show, $100 a week for 8 weeks. We've got Tyler, on the road show. That would be another live show sometime in December, or we could bump that into January, because we still owe you a November show that did not get in because of different rain and different issues on Main Street not being ready. We also got 5 weekly Froggy 99 weather sponsorships per week for 8 weeks worked into there, and then the KFGO holiday guide worked in there for a month at $250. So, and then we worked in some added value that we could work in. We could work in at no charge, 2 weeks on our FM minutes. Those run 5 times a day, 7 days a week on KFGO and Y94. With those minutes, you could promote holiday shopping, parades, anything else holiday-wise. We could work in another live broadcast with JJ and Amy doing their 11 to 2 show from a local business or location, whatever you decide, or tell Jordan to decide. And then, of course, you know, the gift guide, we'd work in a couple of extra dates on our gift guide just to kind of drive that home, whether it be on a Tuesday or a Friday. So we run our gift guides Monday through Friday. You know, we definitely throughout the campaign keep getting feedback weekly from you, updating whenever you want us to update different commercials, or, you know, we provide all of our services for free. All our scripting, all our production has been free. No added costs there. You know, we just want to promote that Pelican's wide open. And then for next year, we built a very similar plan with some feedback from Jordan to what we did this summer. The only thing I added in that's a little bit different is we want you to be part of our KFGO picnic that's in our parking lot. We get anywhere from 15 to 1,800 people for the picnic. People come from free burgers, those types of things. We do vendor booths. We'd like you to be a part of that, have your own booth, maybe do registrations, or like I suggested to Jordan, maybe you've got a handout where maybe you've got coupons to come to Pelican for the different businesses. Maybe it could be an offer at a restaurant. It could be offer for, who knows, batteries at the hardware store, or 2-for-1 pickles, or, you know, whatever you guys decide, we can do things like that. So, I don't know, we've got those kind of things worked in. And, yeah, our people really like coming out here to Pelican. A couple of our announcers got local ties here, so it's kind of in their hearts to see you guys succeed, or get back to succeeding, I should say, you know, with the road construction going on. So, is there any other questions?
Not necessarily a question, but I caught one of your shows on the radio this summer where you were talking about Pelican, and I was really pleased with what you guys done. So.
Thank you. Was that JJ and Amy maybe, or was it?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was I think it was in the middle of the afternoon or something.
Yep, because JJ had an uncle outside of town and likes to reminisce about his family, and plus I think a couple cousins came over to the broadcast, so.
Jordan, I have a question. What was the process we approved our initial advertising?
It was a recommendation from the EDA board, so they haven't heard this yet. The last go around was split between the EDA board and liquor store funds. If that's something that you wanted to do again, I would like the EDA board to hear it, since we were trying to set aside some dollars for advertising this coming year. And then hopefully have an opportunity to collaborate about liquor store promotions as well, so it's not just, hey, the liquor store is open. Maybe we can do a little bit better about how we do it in the future. So, just wanted you guys to get the feedback from them on this last summer.
And with the experience from last year, I think we could definitely put together a calendar so we know on our scripting, you know, what's going to go on, different specials, things like that. We can have that done ahead of time.
When's the next EDA meeting?
Third Wednesday.
13th, I think you said?
It is the third Wednesday of November at 4 o'clock at City Hall.
So I'm just, is there going to be time, is I guess my main question. If we wait till the EDA to get, for them to possibly approve it and then push it to council, which would then be,
I mean, we can move our timeline a little bit. You know, we could start ads on like the 15th, if they approve it on the 13th, and then maybe just move some ads maybe into New Year's. Or if you wanted, we've got some gaps in there, we could move a couple to the end of January, a couple of weeks, you know, around the Super Bowl time, when people are getting ready for Valentine's Day and Super Bowl. Maybe really help your liquor store then as well, and your businesses for, you know, different parties and things like that that happen around the Super Bowl and Valentine's Day.
EDA meeting isn't until the 20th.
Okay.
Okay.
and the council meeting is, the first council meeting is, did you say the 4th? Before election, or is it the 12th?
The 12th.
The 12th.
On the 26th.
Yeah, so I'm just, could we do can you call a special EDA meeting to?
I could, at the EDA meeting, wanted to discuss the liquor store portion of these ads. I mean, any proceeds from the liquor store benefit the city, which I think is great, and I think that I'd like for the EDA board to have conversation about how we can really advertise that portion of the city body. So I wanted to have that conversation. I guess we could try to have it over email, if that's what you prefer.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of like the lighted horse parade and everything is, you know, if we start trying to advertise that and we're pushing it back into.
Well, we've got one advertisement yet from the summer, right?
Yeah, we got Tyler's show. We were looking at getting out here on a Wednesday or a Thursday, his live show.
So we could use that for the, advertise for the
Horse parade.
horse parade.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, this is a much better way of spending our advertising dollars than going over to Fargo and sitting in a booth all day, so,
Yeah.
We only need there for 2 hours.
yeah.
It's a different booth.
Oh, did it?
Oh,
It's a different one. I could pull something together if you'd like that.
I'm just thinking of timing on their end, if
Yeah.
it would.
I mean, to get the full, you know, all the different 30-second ads, 15s, things like that. What is the actual date of the horse parade?
Friday after Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay. So yeah, if we know, say by the 15th, we can have everything ramped up and do a full 2-week push.
That's what I'm just, I mean, if we could have an EDA meeting before the 12th.
Okay,
No.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
That's just my opinion. What do you think, Steve?
Sounds great.
Yeah, then, I mean, there would be no need for you to come back then.
Well, yeah, there is. I gotta buy more pickles.
Well, if you want to,
You've never met my mother, have you? So,
So do we need to take, we don't need to take action?
No,
right?
no.
I would just say, try to get a meeting, EDA scheduled so that we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
talk about it
Okay.
to present before the council on the 12th.
Correct. Okay. You gentlemen okay with that?
yep.
Okay.
Thanks for coming over, because I appreciate you explaining this. I tried reading through it here, and I
no.
kind of ran out of time, so I
No,
appreciate you
understand.
explaining that.
No, anytime.
Yeah.
So I usually come through town Tuesdays, Sunday nights, Friday. You need me to just stop by, I'll be here.
You got a pickle problem, man.
Well, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Going on to item number 7, we have Business Facade Improvement Program application. Jordan?
The EDA has a new commercial rehab program after we were awarded a $25,000 grant from the county CDA to match local funds. So there's a $50,000 pool of dollars available for building business owners downtown. They can apply for up to $5,000 of a grant for commercial rehab repairs as long as they have a 1-to-1 ratio match. So The Mason Brothers submitted a application and worked with me through the application process and looking at their project and are asking for a $5,000 matching grant from the EDA. So just need your approval on that.
Motion second, discussion? Discussion?
What's the motion?
Where were you?
I talked to somebody there a second.
Danielle, want to read the motion? The official motion?
I don't know what the motion was.
A motion to approve the Mason Brothers Commercial Rehab Program grant application.
Just the Masons, not Mason
Thank
Brothers.
you. I don't know where I got brothers. Is brothers not a part of it?
All right. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion? 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 Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. Item number 8, 2025 CETA contract, which was in our packet, and Lance is going to present this. Lance?
Yeah, so this is just the annual contract with CETA. It's exactly the same as the 2024 contract, besides the 5% increase, and the 5% increase is already factored into the 25 preliminary budget, so it just goes from this year, we paid $69,120 for the contract. Next 2025 will be $72,576, so 5% increase.
Do I hear a motion to
I
approve?
move to approve. Second.
Motion second, discussion, discussion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. Thank you.
The Masons and I thank you guys.
What about their brothers?
Don't know where I got that.
They're probably listening on TV.
they probably are.
Item number 9, police report. We have Chief Coyton's here, and there's 3 or 4 items that he's going to present to us. Chief?
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you. We'll start off the evening with the oath of office here for Officer Holmes. He's our new addition to the department. He started last Friday. So Sam, if you want to come up. We'll do the oath here real quick. Stand over here. Raise your right hand. I, Sammy Holmes,
I, Sammy Holmes,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of police officer
the duties of police officer
within and for
the
city of Pelican Rapids
the city of Pelican Rapids
and the state of Minnesota.
and the state of Minnesota.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sam?
Thank you.
I can do that? Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Right, Lily.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Anything you'd like to say, Sam? Means we put you on the spot already? That's a,
No, thank you guys for having me. I promise you I will do the best that I can to help out the city and under the direction of Chief, and hope to see y'all around. So
Yeah.
you see me out, just say hi. I'm good.
thank you.
Thank you.
Chief?
Thank you. On another good note, that's a good note. On another good note, if I could get the council to make a motion to approve the conditional offer hire of Sandra Mendoza, another officer, another candidate that we've extended an offer to.
I move to approve.
Motion second, discussion, discussion, discussion. What,
So the conditions of the offer, as got to go through the background. There's
Yeah.
several steps in the process. Realistically, I would love to have her here working by sometime early December, mid-December, but this process is hard to predict, so we'll get her here. She's excited to be here, so we'll get her here as soon as we can.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Thank you. The next is more of a discussion. So as you recall, we had applied for a grant with Otter Tail County. It was a mitigation grant regarding our siren. At the time that we applied for the grant, I had verified there was no reason we couldn't apply for a second grant. And in fact, we received both grants. So it was a 2-to-1 match grant where, like for the cost of the siren, we're going to throw out a rough number here, okay, was around that $25,000. And they would pay 2/3 of the cost of the siren, we'd pay 1/3 of it. We do have one siren that is not operational at all. That's what got this whole ball rolling. That one we did set money aside for in next year's budget for. So good news, we got 2 grants. Through discussion, so that was A. Through discussion, it was kind of determined that we were initially going to put the siren back where on this lot over here. Through discussion, it was realized probably not a great location in the event that the city doesn't retain that lot forever. And it would be a silly reason to keep the lot just to have the siren on it. So we had the company that would install the sirens, I mean, because I'm not an expert, Brian's not an expert in sirens, had them come out and we threw out some different ideas, different locations. And it was determined that the location north of Turkey Plant to the west of the water treatment plant, we've got a little chunk of property right there, that would be a good location. There's power there, just like there's power over here. That the siren would be tall enough that it would get over top of the plant. And it's still serving that same area of serving the plant if we have an incident going on, and also the other high-risk population is our mobile home park. So it still serves, it's still in the same area. So asking for the council to be okay with us putting one there. Brian and I met with them and we don't see a problem with it. Brian doesn't see a problem with it. We just want to make sure the council's okay before we start putting places that we think are a good idea.
Why wouldn't the tower right beside the building?
So the antenna tower here, the cost involved, engineering cost involved with to structurally make sure the tower can handle, this is a rotating siren, right? I mean, there's all sorts of cost. The company that installs them said it would cost more than the cost of this pack of the siren for the studies and the structure to make that support it. So
Does the cost of the siren include the post it stands on?
So it is part of the bid, and they did get a quote from a local electrician, and they said at sometimes Otter Tail Power, like Region, have come in and just provided that at no cost. I don't know where we stand on that right now. That is built into the cost at this point. So it would be between a 40 and a 50-foot pole. As you're aware, I'm sure you've seen the ones we have. The ones we currently have are way too low. They are not getting, they are not serving the population the way they should.
Would that electricity have to be metered separately?
It would be coming off of our building, right? I mean,
Coming off the water plant?
coming off the water plant, yep. I don't know. And it would,
Possibly could, but
it'll be a pretty minimal usage, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the other problem with our sirens as they exist in town, is ours operate off of 110, right? 120, whatever. So if the power goes down because of an incident, they shut off, right? We don't have battery backup. This one, or these, would actually operate off of battery power, which essentially has a trickle charger, so it's operating off of 110, just always keeping the batteries charged. So short of the pole getting knocked over by the incident, it would keep making sound, which is the standard that you use today.
So you're looking for a motion to move the site from the old water tower site up west of the water plant, correct?
I need council's approval. I don't know if we need a motion or not, but I do need the council to approve that. So I guess probably a motion would be the cleanest.
I move that we have the warning siren moved to the recommended location.
Second.
Motion second, discussion? 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 Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried.
Thank you.
Next.
The third part of the civil defense storm siren conversation is funding for the second one. Again, we put it in the budget. I had it in the budget for next year for the first one. It is not in the budget, and we're beyond that point in the budget process for next year. So I wanted there to be a discussion. I actually floated with the county the idea of waiting until 26 to do this. Like, can we wait on the monies? The answer is no. You have 6 months from the time you sign the agreement to have the project done, and then after that, we will reimburse you the cost of the project, or 2/3 of the project. So then I floated the idea today to the county, can we wait to sign the agreement? And the answer was no. The agreement is going to probably be ready to be signed either by the second meeting in November or the first meeting in December. So we'll have until probably sometime in May to have the project done, which a timeline for the project, that's not a problem. They've been out, this is a quick project. Drill a hole in the ground and put the pole up and get the power run to it.
You have a cost on this?
I don't have it right in front of me. It's that number between $8,000 and $9,000. It's, for some reason, I think it's like 8,600.
At this point, we already approved the preliminary budget, so we cannot increase the budget for next year.
Correct. So that's the conversation, is if the council has any idea of where else to find funding for it, or we can also probably tell the county no on the second grant. So, like I say, my concern with the second one that we have is that it runs off of power, there is no battery backup, and it is way too close to the ground. So.
Danielle?
Yes. We have time to make this decision, right?
We do. We don't have to decide today. We've got some time. Like I say, we've got until that second meeting in November or first meeting in December. So we've got time. The other thing then to think about, I mean, if we're going to ponder, the other thing to ponder is whether or not the second siren replaces the one that stands, or if we find a location for a third one somewhere on the south end of town, and basically we ride that second one that we have out. It's working. Maybe leave it stand there working and find another place for another one, and when it quits, we don't really need it. It's just, it's extra noise, it's extra. So, again, that's something to ponder.
So my thought is, let's wait until the next council meeting to look at the funds.
Okay.
Well, does the council want to pursue the second one, or I mean, we have a functional one right now, or you want to scrap it, or if you just make the recommendation to look at further funding or somewhere, or whatever you guys want.
I would recommend looking at further
Yeah.
funding.
That's important.
And
Everybody on the same page there?
Where's it located?
right now,
Yeah.
it is right up the hill from the school.
The old Corda place,
Oh, okay.
right south of the school property.
It's on their property?
It's in the right-of-way on,
Good
It's
question.
in the southwest corner of it would be First Street Southeast and
Fifth there,
actually Sixth.
sixth. How is that metered? Off of
That one I'm
streetlights?
not sure. I know we get a,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that one
On a
is.
street light? I don't know.
Okay, well, that's beyond discussion tonight, but,
I know the other one is metered separately over
Okay.
here, but.
so Danielle, you do a little scouting there.
I will.
Okay,
and
okay.
then and even if it's, I mean, it's a matter of finding funding somewhere else. We might have a group within the community that's willing to partner. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know that yet, but maybe we can look all together and find that, so.
Okay,
Good. And the last item, line number 4, quick explanation. We have, as you're aware now, we are in the process of making hopefully 2 hires. Well, we've got one. Hopefully make that second hire. There's a significant cost associated with the hiring process, with equipment and things like that. So my request, we are well under in this year's budget, in '24's budget for wage because we've been short-staffed. My ask is that you allow for a transfer of $15,000 from the 100 line of my budget to the 210 line, as Danielle has told me. So from the 100 to the 210, just to offset some of the costs, I mean, from vests, leather, stuff, I mean, everything that goes with making sure we got officers equipped and on the road, so.
that's all kosher, Danielle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Move to approve said request.
Second. Motion second, discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Thank
Anything
you.
else, chief?
Thank you. I'm excited. We'll be at full staff here hopefully before the end of the year,
Great.
so.
Super. I have these sheets for
Oh,
you.
perfect. Anything else the council has for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 10, Resolution 2024-16, pledging to fund aquatics center. Lance?
Okay, this is a resolution I need to include in the state appropriation annual progress report. So is that money that we got, the 1.5 million for the pool, we need to do an annual report, and it's a requirement to have a resolution stating that we will operate and maintain the pool for 2025. So this will satisfy that request.
Okay.
Yeah.
I moved. Approved.
I'll second that.
Motion second, discussion. I asked him the same question. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item number 14, Houston Engineering invoice, which was laid on your desk here this evening. Lance?
Okay, this is for the rock riffle project down by the old Legion down there. This is the engineering and things from Houston, the engineering bill from Houston Engineering. This will get turned into the DNR and we'll get reimbursed for it. So I just happened to get it here on Friday, I think it was, so I wanted to get it in this meeting so we can get it paid in a timely manner. So I'll get the reimbursement request to the DNR tomorrow and we'll get the money to be able to pay for this invoice, so.
Does that turn around pretty quick usually?
Yeah, it's usually just a couple weeks turnaround usually.
I move to approve.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item number 11, administrator report. Lance?
since the last meeting. I worked with the clerk and mayor for council agenda and things. Attended Highway 59, 108 construction meetings and open houses. Attended pool construction meetings. Attended an EDA and EDC meeting. Met with the mayor and Greg Stang about some people service issues. Attended a safety committee meeting. Met with online MCMA group. Attended a Pinewood Estates construction meeting. Attended an Otter Tail County Transportation Plan Advisory Committee meeting. Chief Quaintance and Sergeant Iverson and I conducted interviews for the open police officer position. Met with Apex and Otter Tail County about the contaminated soil found at the Pinewood Estates site. Worked on the State of Minnesota Special Appropriation Annual Progress Report for the pool. Finished the MDH requirements regarding the water service lines, notifications, and inventory. Attended multiple informational webinars offered by the League of Minnesota Cities. Met with Apex and MnDOT discussing the possible Highway 59 pedestrian underpass, and met with the interview committee for the library director position. Questions?
I've got a couple questions. For I guess for DOT, so I don't know, maybe it's a question for you, but Main Street's been open for a week and plus, and the signs are still saying that everything is closed on 59.
Oh, on the north?
North. Yep.
Okay, we'll bring that up tomorrow at the meeting to make
Is
sure.
there a way to get, I mean, I get they don't want to take them down for the fact that they'll have to put them up again in the spring.
No, they'll take them
Can they
down.
cover them at least?
No, they'll take them down.
Yeah.
As long as, it's not saying 108 East is closed, is it? Because those are still up, of course.
I'm just talking on the 59, it says.
How far out?
Well, the ones that are out by.
Yeah,
past
follow
Glen Road.
detour. Yeah.
It
Okay.
says Pelican is, it still says it.
We'll bring that up
59
at
is
the
closed.
meeting tomorrow, make sure to get those
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
They should have been down a long time ago.
They were up.
Lance
as of
requested one
last-
in the south end.
As of Monday.
Yeah, I drive by the ones in the south all the time, so I made,
Yeah.
they got those down, but
And the next notice, and again, probably more you, but I was at the fire hall dinner on Friday, and we parked right in front of Arco, and we happened to park right in front of one of the tree grate things that they have, and either I don't know if the grates aren't the right size or what, but there is
they're
not quite the width of a foot.
not finished yet, that's why they're like that right now. They still have to pour a little
It's
sill.
pretty easy to roll an ankle in those.
Yeah, we gotta ask about that tomorrow, when that's gonna be done as well, because they're all like that. There's a pretty big gap.
Like I said, it's not quite the width of a foot, so your foot can't fit in there, but it's just perfect to roll an ankle either way.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions for Lance?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 12, mayor reports, a few items since the last council meeting. I attended that noon luncheon where Merchants on the Move provided for MnDOT workers and state workers at the E.L. Peterson Park on October 14th. That was very appreciated by the construction workers. In fact, they said they'd probably never witnessed that before in another community where people were that appreciative. Lance and I met with People Service on a couple items regarding maintenance at the water plant. On Wednesday, October 16th, and also the 23rd, attended Pelican Rapids Complete Street staff meeting here at City Hall, and also facilitated the noon meetings at the public library. Had conversations with the mayor last Thursday, October 24th. Yesterday, I met with Administrator Royce to plan the agenda for this afternoon's council meeting, and then also attended that same MnDOT underpass meeting by Teams Technology here at City Hall this afternoon. Any questions?
Thank you.
Seeing no other
Wait
business.
a second.
Yes.
The underpass, what was the discussion about there?
We're still going to, we don't have a final cost. There's more homework has to be done, working to talk to property owners and.
Is it possible because of the sewer?
Well, yeah, the sewer and water,
That's a
it's
concern.
possible. There's still some obstacles and things, but it is possible at this point. So right now, like I said, where we're at is we're gonna talk to a couple of homeowner, or the property owners right where it would be, and just to get their feel and what they think. And then Apex is gonna do a little more work, and I'm thinking Bob will be at the next meeting just to kind of summarize what's been done and what your guys' thoughts are, so.
And then what's going on with People Services?
It was just some maintenance items at the water plant.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that was it.
All right.
Yeah, that was all. Any other questions?
Could do an overpass. Overpass instead of a tunnel?
Another bridge, we need another
Yeah.
bridge.
Be like Concordia. Nice. Lights on.
Anybody want to entertain a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Meeting adjourned.
So we have to
I have a
choose.
minute, a copy of the minutes.
They were.
They were in the